the concepts that you teach, I was always aware of them, but I'd never really structured a syndicated deal. Had I structured transactions as a kind of a GP LP structure, I would have made millions of dollars along the way.
But when you kind of transition from that broker to investor, you knock it out of the park, you should be incentivized and compensated accordingly.
It's easy to sit back and go, well, I should know that. And you can kind of put yourself in a position where you think you should be embarrassed or you should know, so you don't ask the question. And it was helpful to have a space in a group of people that were not too proud to say, can you explain that to me?
I think we had 3 or 4 deals last year where members of the program all invested in one of those deals or more than one of those deals.
I should have invested in every one of them.
Knowing that this is a marathon, for every month, year, years that go by without taking any action, it's that much longer out before you can start to live the life you've always imagined when it comes to investing.
There's always something that's going on.
And frankly, every indicator in the market creates an opportunity. It's just a revised opportunity. That's really it.
Most people don't succeed in this business if they're schmucks.
Hey everyone, Brad Ahrens with CRE Investor Coach. Welcome back to another CRE Investor Coach Success Series. Today I am super excited to introduce you all to Clinton Bennett. He's a current member of CRE Investor Coach and just finished up the CRE Investor Coach Mastermind program. I know you've been in the industry for quite some time. If you could do me a favor and just share a little bit about your background and what initially drew you to real estate investing.
Yeah, I grew up as a farmer in a farm family in the rice farming business, and went to college at the University of Arkansas in early 90s and moved home and farmed for about 6 years and decided that wasn't going to be my path in life. And I came back to graduate school. And as I was in graduate school trying to make some career decisions, there were some opportunities locally, or an opportunity locally to help a gentleman that had worked at Walmart Real Estate and had his appraisal license and he'd worked at Gap and Banana Republic in their real estate departments. And he had started a fund that was basically buying out lots of Walmart supercenters and developing shadow anchor strip centers. So I hired on with him to start leasing shadow anchor centers across the country. While I was doing that work, I also was trying to build a brokerage business locally here in Northwest Arkansas. And so over time, the strip centers were leased and the brokerage opportunities kind of increased here locally, and I partnered with some guys to open a Grubb & Ellis office locally, and then a few years later got a chance to open an office for CBRE in this market, and then spent about a decade with CBRE and now have my own firm. Along the way, I've done primarily brokerage, but had the opportunity to invest in some deals, and so I've just increased my investments and continued my brokerage, and the whole business has kind of grown a little bit with time and effort.
I didn't actually know that. Oddly enough, back in my late teens, early 20s, I had a pivotal moment in my life where besides me and my direct family, everyone else still lives in West Texas. Mom and dad were high school sweethearts, and they all live on farms in West Texas to this day. We're actually the only family that's not in Texas. And I had a moment where I'd gone out there for a summer, and they do a lot of corn and cotton. I'd gotten to the point where like certain sections were mine to kind of oversee. And there was a moment where I either had a choice of I could stay as a farmer and go to school in West Texas, or at this time it would have been move to Huntington Beach, go to school and kind of see where things go. And I remember, I was literally sitting in one of the bedrooms of my grandmother's house on the floor. I've got junior college manuals, one's on this side, one's on this side. And I'm really just kind of going back and forth going like, man, what do I want to do? Like, I really actually enjoyed farming.
Yeah,
right?
The parts of it are great.
There's something to be said of, when the sun's starting to set, you're in the middle of nowhere and you're kind of seeing what you've just put together. And there's a certain feel and you can't really describe it.
It's very satisfying.
But I can also see all of my family, and like I know that if I choose this path, like I can see my future.
Yeah.
Versus this one would be like, oh man, this could be fun. Who knows what might happen? And so kind of similar, just like, yeah, I'm going to go here, roll the dice, see what happens.
It's probably a smart move, but it is very satisfying. And I'll tell you, it has it has really influenced how I think about buying and investing in commercial real estate and being a commercial real estate broker. Because in the farming business, a lot of the land is bought and sold at auctions. The equipment are bought and sold at auctions. So I grew up around auctions. I farmed really until I was 28. So I made some pretty significant business decisions buying and selling stuff at auctions. When you're buying a piece of property or of, $200,000 or $300,000 piece of equipment at an auction, it's pretty stressful. You don't get to phone a friend. Like, you've got to make a decision right then. You're tossing there with the next guy. That's kind of the way I view our brokerage business or my activities in the brokerage business is you better know enough about the property that you're dealing with that if you're advising a client, like, you don't need to go check the data. Like, you should know enough that, like, you've done the research, you know the product. Like, you need to be able to make a decision pretty much on the spot. So that's influenced me. That farming's kind of influenced me at this point.
So as you got started, right, you're working with Walmart family. They're building super centers. You've got a colleague who's developing anchor or shadow anchored strip centers. Is that what kind of kickstarted that passion on the commercial real estate side?
There's so many layers to it. Real estate makes sense to me. Owning real estate that you can touch and feel and improve versus owning equities or other investments that I just didn't have a lot of familiarity with. And then being in the brokerage business for the first few years and doing a lot of those leases and underwriting relatively simple properties. I mean, multi-tenant retail strips that were, 15 to 25,000 feet. The financial models that I was building, the net operating incomes that we were dealing with, like, it was pretty easy to kind of connect the dots on how the values were determined and how you could add value by increasing the revenues. Brokerage was how I paid my bills. I mean, I just kept brokering really, but along the way, it was like I would see opportunities to invest with clients, or I would see properties where value could be added along the way. Yeah, I mean, I just kept trying to make small investments where I could. And we disclose that we buy properties, but we're very careful to not look like we're front-running clients. But yeah, so it's just, I enjoyed it's like putting a puzzle together, and it can be really profitable if you put it together right. So it's a lot of fun to me.
So looking back, right, what strategies or insights from your time with CRA Investor Coach have been most valuable in helping you achieve your investment goals?
The investments I've made over the last, 15 or 20 years, they've all kind of been LLC partnerships, and pretty much just kind of pro rata deals with maybe a little bit of a brokerage fee paid or a management fee paid. But had I structured, if we'd have set up a kind of a GP LP structure, I would have had that structure where I would have gotten paid a promote, over a certain percentage. I would have made millions of dollars along the way. Not really at the expense of anybody. My partners, I think, would have been very happy with their returns, and I would have made a lot more money. And I'm not saying that to seem like I'm trying to be greedy, but I ended up putting some deals together that were really lucrative. And as I look back, like, those don't happen often. And the clients that I was kind of investing with, they were primarily the capital guys. They were following the structure that I proposed, but in hindsight, I should have proposed a different structure. The concepts that you teach, I was always kind of aware of them and had enough familiarity to be dangerous, but I've never really structured a syndicated deal, never really structured a general partnership. It was really helpful to me to have your guidance and then to also be, in a group of people that were not too proud to say, hey, I don't know, or I don't understand. Can you explain that to me? So it was helpful to really kind of talk through it from the start to the finish, being led by someone like you that's had a lot of success and experience in that space, and then having other people around you that were not too proud to ask questions that, to a lot of us that are professionals in the industry, it's easy to sit back and go, well, I should know that, or I've heard that, I should have a better understanding of that. And you can kind of put yourself in a position where you think you should be embarrassed or you should know, so you don't ask the question. And really, it was helpful to have a space where I wasn't embarrassed to ask the questions, and you talk through them. And sometimes for me too, kind of going through those concepts again and again and again, that's how you really learn. And like, it starts to make sense.
To me, it's interesting where, right, your main job is to advise the client, and it's by providing data or market intel or information on the property, or, potential ways that you might be able to achieve better types of returns through maybe better sources of equity or better sources of debt. But when you kind of transition from that broker to investor mindset, it just seems like there's so much of kind of detail and in the weeds of how you put these types of things together that most people just don't think about until you've been on that other side of the equation and you're actually trying to make those adjustments to your business plan to structure the deal for great returns for your investors. But part two, if you knock it out of the park, you should be incentivized and compensated accordingly. We just had one member who went full cycle on a deal, and we helped structure a certain way, and I think he ended up generating returns for his client or for his investors of like 30 or 40% return on investment. For him, if he had done the same, he would have probably generated a 30 or 40%, but with his promote structure, investors got like a 30 or 40% IRR or internal rate of return, and he did something like 100%.
Yeah, and everybody was happy.
Everyone was happy. But I mean, again, if you don't know, or if it's just not a structure you're comfortable with, or you don't have a dial a friend, to kind of help, think you through a few things, I mean, where else do you turn?
So that was part of what I think derailed me from doing it sooner is, there was this urgency around getting the deal done that prevented me from getting a GPLP structure in place. And now I just think I'm better prepared to do that when the next one comes down the pipe.
I mean, that's part of the other beauty about the program is you've got, guys like me or other members who have, a lot of experience in the space who can kind of assist and guide things to think about. I mean, so much that it was just a couple months ago, right? You and I were trying to figure out a way to form a fund to potentially assist a co-GP or co-general partner development for a multifamily deal in your market. And so that's kind of the beauty of, collaborating and trying to do some stuff together.
For sure. And it's not like we're collaborating with unknown people that have decided to participate in this program. When you start dealing with commercial brokers that have been doing this for 5 and 10 and 15 years, it's not that big a pool of people. So the people that have now decided to get in your program, we're all kind of 1 degree of separation or 2 degrees of separation from each other. So you kind of, most people don't succeed in this business if they're schmucks. And so I just had a higher level of confidence in all the people on the calls. Like I would have never considered throwing in with some broker in California on a syndicated deal that he was doing in a state that he didn't live in. But being connected through multiple people, being on this call, like, oh no, man, I know that guy. Like we maybe haven't hung out, but I know who he is. Everybody else trusts him, likes him. So you were kind of like, it was almost like you had a layer of people being vetted who were on the call.
Without that, you would have never met Brett. You would have never known what deal he was talking about. And you would never really know, like, why him, why now, why this. But you guys are all in the trenches going through this together. While you may have never met face to face, you see him every, a couple times a month on a Zoom call. And before you know it, you guys are getting excited about deals. And I went back and looked. I think we had 3 or 4 deals last year where members of the program all invested in one of those deals or more than one of those deals.
I should have invested in every one of them. It's not like they're medical sales guys who are sick of their jobs jumping on this call or, an insurance person that's wanting to get into commercial real estate. Like these are commercial real estate pros. They know what they're doing. You're just helping them structure the deal. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. It's like these guys, if they're putting their name on it, like they believe the deal's going to work and they know what they're talking about.
Well, let me ask you this. So right now you're a broker, commercial real estate broker in Arkansas. You've got a number of investments. Have you created enough opportunity and cash flow that if you wanted to, you can kind of take a step back and do whatever you want to do? Has real estate created that kind of opportunity for you?
I mean, I do want to make money, but it's almost like grow the broker's business. Profit isn't my primary motivator. But yeah, I could step away from this business. And when I get this kind of stabilized, what I want to do is focus on trying to think how to say this. Like I have a lot of relationships with a lot of people with, significant amounts of money that love real estate, like real estate, but they don't really understand it and they trust me. So I would like to create a kind of a platform to raise capital and to give people an opportunity to diversify their family investments into commercial real estate in Northwest Arkansas and surrounding regions, and maybe other parts of the country with guys like you. I just see it as a huge opportunity that would be profitable and a lot of fun.
If you're not having fun doing it, why do it?
And it's not all fun. Like, it takes a lot of work, and some days they're not fun at all. But I think that's the sacrifice and the investment you have to make to create the platform that will then be a lot of fun. Like, I can just see, I love doing deals. I love talking with people like you. I love having ideas. I love adding value. I love making people proud. Like, if I take somebody's money and then return them, a big return on it, like, I feel pretty damn good about that. And I think I'm pretty good at doing it. So that's the kind of thing I want to keep doing.
Do you encourage your brokers or new brokers to invest outside of chasing opportunities on a fee basis?
Not so much. We're a pretty small market, and investors in our market, the general thought is, man, be careful with commercial real estate brokers because they're going to buy all the good deals before we ever see them.
Okay.
And it damages the reputation of their firm. I'd expect our agents to invest. I know that's why people get into real estate, because they want to do that. But we don't try to just promote straight investing. We try to do it in a way that works alongside our clients.
So if someone new walked into your office, what advice would you give someone who is looking to start out into real estate investing or might be considering the CRE Investor Coach program?
My advice would be to invest in something that you already have some experience in, something you know about. I mean, if you're a warehouse guy, be careful if somebody's got a deal for you on a hotel. It's fine to solicit the advice of friends, but you need to know what you're doing. Like, do the research or have the experience. Invest in things that you've got some real knowledge of. And if you don't, invest as an LP. I mean, I've done it myself. I'm not really a multifamily expert, so I've invested in 3 or 4 multifamily deals as an LP, and you learn a lot by doing that. So I would say take a very patient approach. The industry moves slower than most people expect. Be careful of, variable interest rates, like fix your interest rates, kind of understand, what you're getting into and position where you can be very conservative. If you don't have a comfort level, find other people that know that product and maybe give up a little more than you would have liked to have just to create a solid team and a little bit of a safety net around you.
100% agree. I can't tell you how many people think that commercial real estate investing is like residential, where I can find a property, fix it up, flip it, make some money in a short period of time. Now, obviously, you can wholesale contracts or some of the things you could do, but if your main goal is longevity, keeping your investors excited, doing the right thing, it's like any other business model, it just takes time.
My general viewpoint is it probably takes twice as much time as you expect, and it probably takes 25 to 50% more dollars than you expect.
There's so many people who, I think are ready to make the transition, start getting more involved, but then they're nervous about pulling the trigger on actually taking those next steps because of current market conditions. Knowing that this is a marathon, not a sprint, for every month, years that go by without taking any action. I hate to burst your bubble, but it's that much longer out before you can start to live the life you've always imagined when it comes to investing.
Throughout my 20-year career, there's always some kind of problem with the market. Mm-hmm. The interest rates are too high, the vacancy's too whatever. Like, there's always something that's going on that's like, the construction costs are too high. Tenants are just not moving right now. Learn enough about the product that you can spot an opportunity. You got to do the work to find the opportunities. But then when you see them, you need to have enough knowledge to feel confident moving forward on one. And then you got to pull the trigger and move forward. Because if you're waiting around for the perfect time and the perfect conditions, the deal is just never going to happen.
Right. I mean, that just doesn't exist. That's life.
It just doesn't exist. And I love watching. I spend too much time on X. But I love watching, everybody talk about, well, this stage of the market cycle, or that stage of the market cycle. And I think that stuff's important, but there's always some problem with the market cycle.
And frankly, every indicator in the market creates an opportunity. It's just a revised opportunity, right? So you just have to understand where you are in the market, pros and cons of what's creating that cycle, and how you can create an opportunity to navigate around those cycles. That's really it.
Well, and if you look at the people that are successful, I just feel like 99% of them in brokerage and investing are very resilient people. They just keep going. I mean, not everybody makes it. A lot of them fall away. But the people that do a good job, when things get hard, they just keep going.
Tenacity. You got to have it. Well, very cool, Clinton. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to sit with us today and kind of talk through your experience. And it's been really fun getting to know you over these last year and a half. Can't wait to see what you do next.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate you including me, and it's fun to watch what you guys are creating there.
And for those of you who are interested in learning more, check out Clinton. We'll include a link to his company if you're interested in exploring further about the Arkansas market and how he might be able to help you. And if you're also interested in learning more about CRE Investor Coach, please visit us at www.creinvestorcoach.com. We're here to answer any questions you might have. And again, thank you, Clinton, for your time. We'll see you here on an upcoming call.
Sounds great.